How's it going? Brian here from RVwithtito.com. Now this channel is all about DIY projects for your RV, and I can say from experience that there are some projects like the whole planning and design and installation of an off-grid electrical system in an RV that really take a lot of work. And if you've been through that whole process, then you know what I'm talking about. So when I see some of these new products like this come out, like it's an all-in-one large capacity lithium power station. This is the BLUETTI. It really gets me thinking, because for a smaller installation like in a van or a camper or even a small RV, you know, is this really all you need? You know, instead of having to go through all of that complicated setup and matching equipment and installation of a custom system, you know, you could really just take something like this and charge it up and you're off and running pretty much. The large capacity of this unit and some of the equipment that's included in here really got my attention, and I agreed to check it out. So let's go through some of the key features and limitations, and also find out, is it really worth the asking price? Well, it's a pretty solid piece of equipment. It's got a nice metal frame to it, and nothing seems to be jiggling around or anything, so it seems to be pretty well constructed. It does have plastic on the front and back, and this nice large handle on the top, which comes in really handy because this is not light by any means. It weighs about 38 pounds. It's still easy to handle at 38 pounds, but it weighs about the same as one of those, as a small portable generator. So just keep that in mind. It's just a little bit smaller in its dimension though. But overall, it seems to be well put together. But when you take it out of the box, it really doesn't come with much. You know, some equipment comes with all this stuff, but really all you get is this and a couple of charging cables. We got the AC power transformer here, a little brick that you know, we'll use to charge it up from a wall outlet, an AC outlet, and it also comes with a solar charging adapter, which we'll talk about coming up, and I'll show you how that works. Now, one of the things that makes this particular one especially useful is the fact that it's got a really large battery inside. So it's a 1500 watt hour lithium battery. I believe they said it's using LG lithium ion cells. And to put it in perspective, if you take that 1500 watt hours and divide it by, say, 13.2 volts, which is typically where a lithium battery sits, at about 13.2 is where it outputs, then that's about the equivalent of a 115 amp hour lithium battery. So take a 100 amp hour lithium drop-in battery and add another 15 amp hours to it. So that's how much battery capacity you really get here. On the front here is where all the controls are, and the 12 volt outputs, as well as the charging port. So let's go through that. To turn it on, there's a power button here up at the top, and you actually have to press and hold it in, and then it comes on. If you just press and release, it doesn't come on right away. So I wish it would just tap it and then it'll turn on, but you have to hold it in. And the same thing with these other buttons. To turn on the 12 volt output, the DC output, press and hold it. And the same thing with the AC output, press and hold it. So this is a little display that you can see the battery level, so it's the stated charge. It's just this little bar diagram. There's no actual percentages. I'd love to see the percentages, like 68% full, but it also shows you the numbers here in watts. So this is the amount of watts coming in if you were to be charging, and the next one is the watts in 12 volt DC output, and the same thing with the AC, a number of watts and for your AC output. So those are your two that are going to draw from this battery. And we have USB plugs here. We have 4 standard USB plugs, and these are 3 amp max at 5 volts, and also a USB-C port. So if you have any USB-C devices, like one of these here, this cord, you can plug that in here, like a laptop or anything else that has a USB-C. And it outputs a maximum of 45 watts. Now if you have anything that you need to plug in that has this kind of DC connection on it, then you can use this standard DC output, like a cigarette lighter sort of thing. And it puts out a steady 12.2, 12.3, 12.4 volts. The instructions says that it should put out 12.2. I'm not sure how accurate this is, but I measured it with a meter and it comes out to about 12.35 or something is what this one is putting out. And it's a fairly steady voltage coming out regardless of the level. Now you can run a lot of AC powered equipment, small appliances, and anything you can plug into a wall basically you can run off of this. It's got a 1000 watt pure sine inverter, so it's nice clean power, and it's just like plugging in something at home. So you don't have to worry about any of your sensitive electronics or anything like that. Should be just fine. Plug them into the back and you're good to go. Now I've tried a number of different things here. Obviously you can run a little coffee pot. You can even hook up a small microwave. You can get it has to be under 1000 watts. So you can actually pick up a 700 watt microwave from Walmart for like 30 bucks. I've actually bought one for like $25. It's pretty surprising. You can also use a hair dryer, like to blow dry your hair, but not this one. You're probably gonna need a small one like this. But yeah, works just fine. 725 watts. The other thing is you can also even plug it into your RV using a dog bone. So one of those adapters that goes from, say, a 30 amp plug to a standard 120 plug, and you can just use that to plug it in to the output here and just power your receptacles inside your RV, and it thinks it's shore power. So I've tried that, but you don't want to overload it. You certainly want to turn things off, if you were to operate in that mode, but that does work. But yeah, I've used it for a lot of different things. I actually used it on a project recently with a heat gun, and I was shrink wrapping some heat shrink on some cables, and I was running work lights for many hours, through the night, and running a lot of different things that were plugged in here and plugged into the back. So it works pretty well and lasts a long time. Now the inverter will surge up to, say, 1200 watts, I believe. It's a 1000 watt inverter, so usually something under that will be just fine. But if you do have something that surges above that, it'll run for a real short period of time. But if you leave it on that output level, it will beep at you and throw a code. But the nice thing is that in the book here, it shows you what all the codes are, so you can take the appropriate action. For example, E013 says overload protection of the inverter. So the documentation is actually pretty good and helpful. If anything were to happen, you'll see the code show up here on the display. The primary way to recharge it is to use the AC wall adapter. It's got the big brick on it right here. So it's plugged in right now, and you just plug it into this charging port right there, and it'll start charging up. You can hear the cooling fan kicking in now, and it's pulling in about 160 watts, it says. So if you do the math, it's a 1500 watt hour battery. So if it was fully depleted, you got 160-ish watts going in each hour. It's gonna take about a good 10 hours if the thing's totally drained. So just keep that in mind, be realistic. The other thing is that both charging methods actually go through this same port. We'll talk about solar here in a minute. but it's got a maximum input of 10 amps. So that's about the equivalent of 10 amps going in. So that's the max. If you wanted to recharge this from your alternator or in your vehicle, you would use this same plug, but you would have to connect this and plug it into a separate inverter that you carry with you, and it's going to pull about 165 watts from that. So just make sure that that whatever you're plugging it into, whether it's one of those DC receptacles or if you have any fuses in there, that it can handle up to 10 amps, probably more. You probably want like at least a 15 amp fuse, and that whatever equipment you're using can handle up to 10 to 15 amps of current flowing through it for a long period of time. But yeah, besides that, it'll hold its charge really, really well and provide plenty of power. If you just want to head out for a weekend, let's say, I would just recharge this all the way to full, and it's going to last you for several days. Recharging this battery bank using solar panels is actually really straightforward because it comes with everything you need to pretty much just plug in a solar panel or two and start charging. What I really like about it is that it has a solar charge controller built in, and actually it's an MPPT solar charge controller, which are the more advanced ones that allow you to really squeeze the most energy out of your solar panels, and they also give you more options for connecting solar panels together, and they're designed to take higher voltages, which means you can series connect a couple of say 100-watt solar panels in that produce a higher voltage, and the MPPT charge controller will know what to do with that and convert that down to the appropriate charge voltage and amperage in the current to really squeeze the most energy out of your solar panels. It connects to a standard MC4 connector. It has this adapter, and that's all you really need is to plug these MC4 connections into the output of your solar panels, and simply just plug it in to the battery here, and it'll start charging. I found that using two lightweight 100-watt solar panels is a pretty practical setup for recharging this guy, and just connecting them in series will give me the right input just to be within the limits of this guy. So with a series connection, that'll give me a roughly about a 40 to 44 volt output from the solar, and should keep me within the 10 amp maximum input current rating as well. So that's a pretty practical setup. You could certainly experiment with different ones to try to squeeze more out of that input, but another option is to use some sort of portable solar setup, like the solar blanket or a foldable solar array that's more compact and easy to store. And I've tried that too, and it works just fine, as long as it has an MC4 output where you can connect directly to the solar panel, because a lot of these portable units, they have a solar charge controller already attached or included with that portable kit. So if you go that route, just make sure that you bypass the solar charge controller that's already part of that kit, and then you go directly from the solar panels directly into this charging input. Now, one final note about solar charging is that you have to have realistic expectations about how fast and how much solar you're going to be able to use to recharge this. Solar charging it's a slow process. You're not going to get that solar charge in a couple hours. Just don't expect that. And even with a couple hundred watts of solar, and even if you were to max out that 10 amp rating, assuming you only get about 3 to maybe 5 great hours of sun in a day, it's going to take a long time to recharge the large battery here in this battery bank. This is a big battery in here, and if you fully deplete this guy, it's going to take a long time, maybe 10 to 12 hours or even more to get that charge back in here using only solar. The big question: how much does it cost, and is it really worth it? Well, that's two questions. So let's first start off with what you're getting. Obviously, you've kind of seen what this can do, but it is totally different from you know, a customized setup. And you know, for a larger RV or you know, bigger installation where you have larger power demands, you're going to need a custom setup for that. But for some smaller setups that, you know, your needs are within the capabilities of this battery and your space is fairly small, this can really do it for you. But you know, you have to be able to be within reach, first of all, of this guy, because everything that you're going to need to power gets plugged in directly to this box. So you're going to have to be within cord's reach. And since this is an all-in-one unit also, you know, you're subject to basically having the whole thing fail if one of the components inside fails and stops working properly. So, you know, keep that in mind as well. If you have a component-based custom solution, if you have one thing dies, say your charge controller dies, you just swap that component out and you're back up and running. So that's kind of the downside of an all-in-one unit. But right now on Amazon, I believe the price listed is $1,399, and that's before this discount that they've offered. Check the description for that. It's a pretty good discount right now. $1,399, which is a lot of money. But if you were to try to build something like this using individual components, like I would put together for a small a van or a small RV build, you're probably going to spend more, because you're going to have to buy something comparable, like say a lithium battery that's 100 amp hour, 115 amp hour, like this one. That's expensive. You need a pure sine inverter. That's a 1,000 watt pure sine inverter. MPPT solar charge controller that can handle at least a couple of 100 watt solar panels. We've got a battery monitoring system kind of built in here as well. And you know, you need cables and switches and circuit breakers and all of that stuff that you need to tie everything together and make sure that everything is safe and working properly, and you're not going to, you know, blow something. So all of that plus installation certainly adds up. So you do the math and figure out if it's really worth the price. You know, for what you're getting, it's actually you know, it seems like a decent price. I'm going to continue to use it and kind of run it through its courses and take it on the road and try to power a bunch of things with it. And I'll get back to you, you know, with my thoughts on how it's working out long term. Now, if you've tried something like this, if you've got a smaller one or something of the same size, or this particular unit, I'd love to hear how it's going and what your experiences are with it. Drop those in the comments, as well as some questions, and I'll do my best to answer them. But take it easy. I hope you like this review. Give it a thumbs up if you did, and I'll see you in the next one. Take it easy. Did I already say that? I did. Take care. Later.